Irish Guy, and today I'm about to expose a painful truth about every Premier League club. Honestly, I don't even feel good about saying these truths. I feel like I'm just being mean, and that maybe upon hearing your painful truth, you might feel like a territorial Rottweiler who starts barking at the phone. But yeah, let's uncover the painful truth. That's what I will do. What you should do is subscribe. Go on, you absolute legends. Do it now! Right, let's go. Arsenal. Keeping Smith Rowe was a mistake. Okay, I realise that if anybody dares to insult Arsenal golden boy Emile Smith Rowe, those fans will take it personally. As if I've just sent their mum a bag of vomit in the post. Smith Rowe has always been groomed and marketed as the club's next teenage superstar. But I'm sorry, can I be the one to finally pour cat wee on this? Smith Rowe has had his injuries, sure, but the man is nearly 23 years of age. When Cesc Fabregas was his age, he was a world champion Arsenal captain with nearly 60 caps for arguably the greatest international team of all time. Even Jack Wilshere, someone who probably spends his days eating daffodils with a fork. When he was 23, he was a regular winning his second FA Cup. But Smith Rowe, it's not like he's some 18-year-old talent, someone who needs to get his mum to buy him beer. Now, he's already a third of the way through his career. If he stays with the Gunners, he'll just be a guy tucking into his third Petit Filou on the bench. I know Arsenal fans don't want to admit this, but lads, 18 months ago, Aston Villa bid £30 million for this guy, and you said no. I don't get it. You'll cash in on both Alex Iwobi and Joe Willock for that price, but here, this former Huddersfield Town pancake, would it be one of your most expensive ever departures? And yet you instead just want him hanging around like a chubby cheerleader? Honestly, you should have just taken the money and run. Aston Villa. Unai Emery is an average league manager. It's funny how the glory pictures of seeing a manager hold it off the cup trophy time and time again sort of massively boosts his image. Honestly, it's like football steroids. Emery is just one of those experienced coaches who knows how to navigate plenty of cup runs, so people make the mistake of assuming he's a world-class manager. I'm sorry to shatter the myth, Aston Villa fans. I mean, I feel like this is me telling a 9-year-old that no, the Tooth Fairy didn't give you a fiver last month. That was just your creepy uncle who collects your teeth in a jar to snip before bed. Lads, I'm not just picking on Emery because Carlo Ancelotti is another one. He's been the manager of Juventus, AC Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid for a combined 20 seasons. And yet, he's never won the league more than once with any of those monster clubs. It's always just one and done. Even with PSG, he's a Champions League addict, yes, but a surprising league underachiever. I mean, he averages one league title every 5 years as manager, and Emery's the same. Brilliant in the cups, but mostly just a stale cabbage in the league. While boss of Sevilla, sure, he'd stuff his face with Europa Leagues, but he also finished 9th, 5th, and finally 7th. I'm pretty sure the job description was to get them into the top 4. And he never did. And in his only full season at Arsenal, he finished 5th behind Spurs. Also, what PSG boss, he somehow finished 2nd in the league to Monaco. See, it's not just Pochettino who messes that title race up. And oh yeah, he only had one full season at Villarreal. People remember the Europa League win, but in La Liga, he took them from 5th under previous boss Javier Calleja to 7th. Yeah, in the league, he's not great at all. Bournemouth. You want weird managers. Bournemouth don't have a clue when appointing managers. I'm sorry, but they don't. When they go into the market for one, it's like me trying to pick out a dress. I mean, this is a club who landed an absolute gem in Eddie Howe. But once he walked out the door in 2020, it's almost like he just got drunken goblins making decisions at boardroom level because the managers you've targeted have been bizarre. Honestly, it's like someone who finally gets divorced after 30 years and them having to download Tinder on their phone. They don't know what they're looking for. So yeah, they'll probably wind up sharing a cheese board with some gothic witch who sacrifices lambs after dark. First of all, give me the first team job to Jason Tyndall and then Jonathan Woodgate, a man who nearly got Middlesbrough relegated to League One. That made about as much sense as eating shoelaces in a pie. But to actually give Thierry Henry a job interview when he was a disgraced Monaco failure who was licking his wounds at Montreal. I mean, the guy was also assistant coach to Roberto Martinez with Belgium. Yeah, guess what? So was Graham Jones. And at club level, he was just making burgers for Steve Bruce. Henry was a weird call, as was wanting to appoint John Terry as manager. Just 4 years after he rejected the chance to join the Cherries as a player, it's almost as if the Bournemouth owner just loved hearing JT tell him no. And at the time, the club moving for Patrick Vieira looked insanely random. And what else? The obsession with getting Scott Parker after he'd just taken Fulham down. And luckily the Bournemouth board just wanted to hire managers based on how good they were as players. It didn't matter if they were were actually inexperienced interns with the underdeveloped tactics of cauliflower soup. But the weirdest one, Bournemouth have the building blocks to play a rigid 4-4-2 with targeted men up front. So why on earth were they even considering Marcelo Bielsa, who plays a completely different style of wacky football? And in the end, just leaving the job in the hands of Gary O'Neill, Bournemouth, they don't have a clue how to appoint a semi-decent coach. Honestly, next season, they'll probably give the gig to Gary Cahill. Brentford, you are terrible at spending money. Brentford are having a great season, but let's be honest, chucking around fat chunks of cash does not suit this club. This club might puff out their chest and want to pretend that they've got no problem waving around a Premier League credit card, but honestly, their big money deals stink of naivety. The 6 most expensive signings of all time: Frank Onyeka, Yohan Wissa, Mikael Damsgaard, Christopher Ayer, Aaron Hickey, and Keane Lewis-Potter. A group of players totaling over £80 million. Yeah, none of them are really assured of a starting spot, especially last summer's recruits, Lewis-Potter and Hickey. Huge British talents. But I mean, they've been so injury prone, they'd probably pull a hamstring buttering toast in the bath. And Damsgaard, the Denmark superstar, was literally supposed to be Christian Eriksen's clone. Now, 0 goals, 0 assists, and is barely able to crawl off the bench. The poor kid is a major whiff of big money flop. Honestly, whenever Brentford spend more than £10 million on a single player, they always just fail. Brighton, you'll be relegated within 5 years. Okay, I'm sorry, but does this whole Brighton project all feel a bit pointless? We know they're going to be back in the championship by 2028. No matter how silky or progressive they might look as a club, we just know there's an expiration date on this. Lads, I witnessed Stoke finish 9th 3 seasons in a row. They also reached the cup final and played in Europe. Bolton Wanderers were a Premier League regular who nearly qualified for the Champions League. The best comparisons to Brighton are Swansea, another ball-playing, free-flowing hipster football team who, yeah, in the Premier League finished 8th, 9th, won the League Cup, but where are they now? No matter how comfortable or stable a team might look, it doesn't take much for these small clubs to crumble like dog stick in the snow. Sorry lads, but Brighton will be relegated, and it will be soon. If they're still in the Premier League in 6 years' time, I will eat an entire mattress. Chelsea, you are domestic cup bottlers. This seems like it's wrong to say, considering Jose Mourinho used to have Chelsea dominating the domestic cups, but let's be honest, for the sheer money spent, I have to say it, this club are current domestic cup bottlers. Sure, you'll wake up and squeak a Champions League win every 10 years or so, but when it comes to English cups, it's not good enough. People don't realise that Chelsea have actually lost the last 5 Community Shields dating back to 2011. They've been knocked out of the FA Cup third round this season, yes, but before that, they lost the final 3 years on the bounce. Lads, they've lost 4 out of the last 5 FA Cup finals. I mean, one of them was against Leicester City. I mean, come on! They've also lost 3 out of the last 4 League Cup finals to Liverpool, Man City, and most unforgivably, Tottenham. I mean, lads, in the last 10 years, this club have won 1 FA Cup, 1 League Cup, and that's it. Whereas before that, they'd won 4 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, and 2 Community Shields in just 8 seasons. So yeah, your standards have massively slipped. Crystal Palace, you wasted your time in the Premier League. This is going to be unpopular, but Crystal Palace have not pushed themselves at all. Honestly, this is like someone waking up on their 50th birthday and realizing that they've wasted their life. Lads, they have had 10 consecutive years in the Premier League. And what have they actually done? They finished 11th, 10th, 15th, 14th, 11th, 12th, 14th, 14th, and 12th. The consistency is maddening. All their points totals have been in the 40s. Never have they managed to hit 50 points. And to me, it's a waste. They haven't really improved since the Tony Pulis era. Where's the ambition? Where's the improvement? This is a fan base who could easily have squeaked a couple of European nights. I mean, why not? Lads, I'm talking about Burnley. Burnley FC recently finished 7th, and we're still welcoming teams from Greece to Turf Moor. I remember the likes of Blackburn and Bolton finishing inside the top 6, but Palace, they don't push themselves. Honestly, right now, I feel like a frustrated school teacher who has a promising student, someone who could go on to study medicine, but now they instead choose to throw their homework in a bin. Honestly, right now, I feel like Ben Affleck in Good Will Hunting. Come on, Palace, apply yourselves. Honestly, Palace are right now a dead-end, go-nowhere club, just stagnating and rotting in their 40-point-plus cave. Why not reach for the stars? Honestly, what a waste. Everton, your fans treat managers poorly. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think Everton fans are too hard on their managers. Every season we see the supporters whinging and moaning about their coaches. I remember back in 2016, Everton fans were slaughtering Ronald Koeman for having a red Christmas tree. What about the campaign to drive Marco Silva out of the club? When to be honest, he's actually a quality coach. The Everton fans were publicly against the return of either Mikel Arteta or David Moyes. So I'm sorry, either one would have been a more shrewd and stable long-term appointment than the clearly short-term Ancelotti fling. I thought the Everton fans protesting against against Vitor Pereira before he was even given the job was all sorts of harsh. Sam Allardyce has said he was hounded out after he helped you finish 8th. Coleman has said the Everton fans were living in the past and expected too much, while Roberto Martinez literally had an angry fan confront him on the pitch. The man literally had fans protesting against him 2 years after he helped them finish 5th in the Premier League on 72 points. And don't even get me started about how Rafa Benitez was driven away, when in reality, forget the Liverpool connection, that man is tactically on another planet to Frank Lampard. And honestly, next season I can see Dyche getting pushed out too. I don't know, Everton fans, am I wrong? I'm happy to be proven wrong, but are you just a bit too mean to your managers? Fulham will be destroyed in Europe. I'm sorry to rain on Fulham's parade. I'm sure those fans are excited about a return to Europe. And let's be honest, they nearly won the Europa League in 2010. But some teams just aren't ready for Europe. And Marco Silva, clearly a decent coach, but while he's done okay in the Champions League with Olympiacos, the Europa League really is not his thing. For Olympiacos, Sporting Lisbon and Estoril Praia, the man has not won any of his last 10 Europa League games. That run spans a decade. Weirdly, he's actually got a much better record in the Champions League, winning 5 games, but still, Fulham won't be in the Champions League, so that doesn't matter. It'll be the Europa League or the Conference League. And yeah, I bet if he's going to splutter and fail. Leeds, you're not as attracted to managers as you should be. Leeds United are one of the monster clubs in Europe. They absolutely should be an attractive place for superstar managers across the globe. And when they convinced Marcelo Bielsa to join them in the Championship, I thought surely that's proof that the lure is still there. And so in the Premier League, they can attract who they want. Even the likes of Jose Mourinho and Rafa Benitez, seasoned champions, might be tempted to move to such a massive club. But no, instead, you've been rejected by Feyenoord's Arne Slot, Rayo Vallecano's Androni Areola. Instead, you're just having to hire the ex-Watford bloke who once lost an FA Cup final 6-0. Honestly, this is Leeds United. The team have binned off Brian Clough after a month, and yet nobody seems to want the job. Bit sad that. Must be a bit humbling. I feel like if Jennifer Aniston goes down the pub and realizes that nobody actually wants to buy her a drink anymore. Leicester, Jamie Vardy is terrible. This is a horrible reality to come to terms with. But the truth is that Jamie Vardy is a finished lump of scrambled egg. This might just be the biggest drop-off in Premier League history. Last season, he scored 17 for Leicester. The previous season, he'd scored 17 for Leicester. The season before that, he was winning the Golden Boot. But now, at 36 years of age, this absolute Leicester City great is stuck on 1 goal in 24 Premier League games. It's embarrassing. And you hate to see legends embarrass themselves like this. It's like seeing Robert De Niro in Meet the Parents 3. Honestly, seeing Vardy like this, it's just horrible to watch. Liverpool, Cody Gakpo is Klopp's biggest flop. Jurgen Klopp doesn't do many flops. The man who's always shrewd in the transfer market. But I just have a feeling. The painful truth is that Cody Gakpo is going to be his biggest ever flop. I know he scored a couple of goals recently, but I think in a few years, we will look back and wonder why. Just why Liverpool were so keen to steal in and buy this unproven fella from the Eredivisie. Honestly, he'll probably go on to have a decent career, but it'll just be Liverpool's version of 2015 Memphis Depay. Gakpo is really just not going to work out. Man City, these trophies might mean nothing. Okay, here's the truth. Manchester City might have just wasted their own time. I don't want this to be true, because I can't imagine how sick their fans would feel if after all this time, every trophy they lifted is fake. The allegations are that Man City cheated their way to these trophies, and if the court rules that to be true, then really, all these Premier League titles and cups, they just won't matter. And this could all just mean a huge waste of time. And honestly, for City fans, how horrible would this be? These supporters have been pinching themselves since 2008, trying to wonder if this was all a dream. But in the end, it might mean about as much as one. Man United, not winning the league in 10 years is a disgrace. This is a painful truth, but an obvious truth. Manchester United fans should not really be celebrating right now, because if you fall short in this title race, it will break up an official 10 years of failing to finish first in the Premier League, and for a club the size of Manchester United, for that to actually be a thing, it's nothing short of an absolute disgrace. Honestly, it's like when Real Madrid went 9 years without a La Liga title, until Jose Mourinho saved the day. Newcastle, the St James's Park atmosphere will be diluted. Right now, the St James's Park atmosphere is unrivaled in English football. Lads, everyone knows that Newcastle United support is incredible. And when things are going well, the place is bouncing. But part of me dreads what the stadium will be like in 10 years. Lads, Manchester City used to have an unreal atmosphere too, back in the days of Main Road with Kevin Keegan at the wheel. But now, it's just natural. Because of all the success and all of the goals, I mean lads, they've seen over 800 of them on Guardiola's watch, it's all just a bit diluted. All just a bit new camp. I mean, for a lunchtime game against Southampton, whenever they score, the fans just sit in their seat and clap. And once Newcastle become the big power dogs, will the Geordies just get used to success? This is a fan base who right now violently cheer winning a corner kick, but if they're soon winning every game 4-0, would it all just be a bit meh? Will the stadium now just attract glory hunting tourist fans every week who just turn up to get a selfie with Neymar outside the ground? Will it suddenly mean less when Newcastle are comfortably winning every week? Will the great incredible atmosphere now just resemble a bored library? I mean, lads, recently we saw the Man City fans boo their team off at half time. I hope not, but success dilutes passion. It turns hope into expectation. It turns passionate songs into munching prawn sandwiches at half time. When winning becomes the norm, do the fans inside just get a little bored? And does everyone just get a bit spoiled? Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest are biggest underachievers ever. Out of every single team to have ever competed in the Premier League, Nottingham Forest are the biggest underachievers ever. This club for years have been an utter disgrace and have let the memory of Brian Clough down. Harsh words sure, but I'm sorry. That's a man who won you 2 Champions Leagues in a row. This is one of the biggest clubs in England, and yet this is going to be finished 3rd in the Premier League in 1995. Weirdly, as a newly promoted club, 2 years later they finished bottom, but then they won the championship to return, only to finish bottom again on just 30 pathetic points. And since then, over 20 years in the wilderness, they failed in the championship playoffs 3 times, failed in the League 1 playoffs once, they've hired some horrible managers, and just wasted everybody's time. Southampton's academy golden era is over. Everyone always talks up Southampton's academy as being one of the best in the sport. No. It used to produce world-class ballers, sure, but it doesn't do that anymore. How many ex-Southampton academy players are currently at the top of the sport? Sure, Luke Shaw is the best example, but he left Southampton's academy in 2011. Ben White left the Saints in 2014. So who else is there? Tyrone Mings? Although, are you really taking credit for him? Considering the club released him in 2009 when he was 16, forcing him to go and make his way to Chippenham Town, was working part-time as a barman and mortgage advisor? Honestly, when the rest of the ex-Southampton Academy graduates flying the flag are just Matt Targett, Callum Chambers and Harrison Reed, it might be time to accept that talent pool has dried up. Tottenham are allergic to trophies. Tottenham don't win trophies. That's pretty much it. Next, West Ham. This season is an expensive mess. I don't think enough is made about just how bad West Ham's season is. This club has never spent as much money before as they have this season. Nearly £200 million. And they're still in a relegation battle under David Moyes. Honestly, all these expensive toys they bought, they were brought in to bring the Hammers to the next level, to qualify for the Champions League. But the fact they're scrapping to keep their head above the championship, and I'm gonna say it, this is the most embarrassing season David Moyes has ever had. Yeah, it's worse than finishing bottom with a dead Sunderland squad. It's even worse than finishing 7th with the champions of England. I mean, it's weird to say, but he's actually got a better midfield now. What? He had Tom cleverly in that Man United midfield. He's about as exciting as a bag of wet ear wax. I actually think for the money spent and bringing in the likes of Paqueta, adding on to a team with a supposed £100 million star boy in midfield, then yeah, Moisey, this is an absolute disgrace. Wolves have never had ex-world-class player as manager. I bet even Wolves fans haven't bothered to realise this yet, but the club don't do hiring managers who used to be top players. They just don't. No. Lads, both Julian Lopetegui and Nuno Santo were bench-warming goalkeepers, and Bruno Lage just chose to spend his 20s reading books and making managers their tea. Sure, they once had Paul Lambert in charge, and to be fair, he did win the Champions League, but he spent most of his career in the Scottish League, and he was also a wet sack at pudding failure as Wolves' boss. I don't know, it's just weird to see that not a single Wolves manager who succeeded ever really had much of a playing career. Anyway, that's the end of it. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? What is your painful truth? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.